Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and this is, of course, Whytober. We will be continuing with the subject we started yesterday, which focuses on the setting of what truly fears us, and what kind of settings cause the most fear, and of course, answer the grander question, why? Yesterday we looked at what every single fearful situation has, which is unfamiliarity, taking and putting us somewhere where we have no idea where we are. It is unfamiliar to us. A new house has an unfamiliar town, or even any forest. We are hardwired to be fearful when we don't know where we are. But even when we are lost, we don't all become fearful. Sometimes we find this as a time to explore and enjoy this new place. But that isn't always the case. There are two main reasons that fear installs itself into us. The first is the fear of the unknown, and the other is the fear of the uncanny. I'll give each its own episode, so let's start off with the fear of the unknown. There are plenty of moments in life where we are faced with something new, but the true fear of the unknown is when either we know that the number of options for what happens is too many for us to make an accurate guess. This is most akin to a dark corner. This is different from being afraid of what we know when it is skewed. This is more like what happens when we enter a situation with little to no information as to what is out there. Like going to a new town and seeing no one in the midst, or entering a dark building, or even walking downstairs into a poorly lit basement. Instead of being afraid of what is out there, we fear what might be out there. This is often the first part of a story, where we know nothing, where every dark corner and small noise gives away our truly deepest fear. And while this trope can be overused to the point where it's impossible to live up to the true terror that the imagination brings up, too little of it can be put on and not be scary at all. I remember playing the first BioShock. When I did, I stopped playing after the first few minutes, simply because my imagination gave off more terrifying things than anything that the game could produce. For those of you who have not played the game, let me tell you what the opening is. After a plane crash and a very simple opening, the game has you wash ashore on a small rocky island with a large lighthouse on it. You walk up the stairs to see a door left ajar. You enter into a pitch-black room as the door closes behind you. The light turns on to show you a large bust of a man, with a banner that reads, "No gods or kings, only man." You walk down a set of stairs as soft music plays in the background. You enter into an underground room with a large spherical pod and a pool of water with a door open. You follow the music into the pod and see a lever in the pod. You pull it, and the door closes behind you as it dives into the water, giving you a view as it flows through the ocean. A curtain pulls in front of the window, and a movie plays as a man's voice narrates. I am Andrew Ryan, and I am here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his own brow? No, says the man in Washington. It belongs to the government. No, says the man in the Vatican. It belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow. It belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose something impossible. I chose rapture. A grand underwater city rises above an underwater mountain. The movie continues. Where the artist would not be censored, where the scientist would not be bound by morality, where the great would not be bound by the small. With the sweat of your brow, rapture can be your city as well. The voyage continues, and you see sea life swimming around, and inside rapture you see a man that is slightly odd-looking. The radio turns on and people are talking about the plane crash, and going to help you when you finally land. The man on the radio mentions something called a slicer. You enter the city and go through a series of gates that read, "All good things flow through this city." The screen goes dark as you enter the city. You start to float upwards, and a man is calling over the radio, screaming for 1 more minute in order to help you. You enter a dark room and see his outline. The light from your pod flickers, and you hear him beg for mercy from something you don't see. Then ever so quickly, the light flickers and you see someone crouched over, stalking the other man. They start to back up, closer to your pod. Before the crouched man slices the man across the gut. Blood gushes out. The light goes out. They back on, and the man is holding the other man up with his blades before slashing outwards. The light goes out again, and all you hear is blood gushing out and onto the floor. Then the man falls to the floor, and the killer looks into the orb and sees you. As you can tell, this is a perfect example of taking the known, taking things that we understand, that we do have a grasp of, making it truly horrifying. The reveal of any details is completely controlled. The whole of the opening puts you into the mindset of the character. He has no idea what is going on, and because of that, the setting of Rapture is scary, simply because we are promised paradise in Rapture. But the very first thing we see is a man being murdered. When we are given something that we have dealt with before, that hides certain aspects, that is where true fear lies. Where the very thought of what could be scary to us in that setting has become one with that monster. We fear this because it is unknown, and that is where our imagination takes over and truly scares us.
You don't know me.